What comes to mind when you first hear the word boosting? It may sound harmless, but to some video games, if not most, it was illegal and was looked down upon by the populace of gamers. Grinding in every video game comes in different forms: ranks, levels, items, equipment, achievements, and so on and so forth. This was usually done in groups or parties to make the grind efficient, since playing alone comes with drawbacks. But for those who grind alone, they usually find the best route or strategy to make it more efficient. They have the mindset of a pro gamer and have the mental fortitude to do so. But our MC, Han Xiao, makes a living out of boosting. He has been playing Star Ocean, a fully immersive virtual reality game, for more than a decade now. He was among of those pioneer players of the game. With that much gaming hours, Han Xiao was familiar with most, if not all, of the missions, quests, and resource locations in the game. As a pioneer player, he was also one of the top rankers of the game. Han Xiao was your average shut-in gamer who only played games their entire life. However, he was making money out of it, boosting levels of new players, ranks in the arena, etc. He was doing this frowned upon boosting to make a living, and he doesn't see anything wrong with his actions. This day wasn't any different from any other day Han Xiao has woken up to. He received a commission for boosting a new account, he received the money, and get right into it immediately. But this time, it was a little bit different. Just a little bit. After logging into Star Ocean with a new account, Han Xiao was presented with an unfamiliar scenario. He was strapped in a hospital bed with instruments around him, monitoring his vitals. Han Xiao felt his head stinging in pain. Alarms were ringing inside a facility while people in white lab gown was running about. One of the people inside bolted outside shouting to call someone named Hyla as the test subject came back to life. The personnel hid behind a wall and shouted into a radio for guards to restrain the test subject. Immediately, the metal door opened and 3 guards with heavy caliber guns entered. Although Han Xiao was still confused, seeing the guards charging at him, he stood up and ran. One of the guards caught up to him and hit him with an electric baton. Han Xiao quickly crossed his arms and blocked the baton, but when he received the attack, he was again confused with the pain he felt. The game was supposed to have a 40% pain sensitivity at most, but yet, he can fully feel the numbness and pain of that attack just now. It was like the pain sensitivity was set at 100% instead. This moment of confusion caused Han Xiao to stop moving, and the guards finally neutralized him with their batons. Pause. That sounded very risky. Anyways. The guards then dragged Han Xiao and was tossed inside a room so that he won't cause any trouble. The hurting Han Xiao, however, opened his system window and was about to delete the account and start anew, but when he looked carefully, there was no logout button. He can only see his status panel, and the logout button was nowhere to be seen. As he went through the panel to look for the logout button, other confusing details were found. His race was of human origin, though carbon base. His model, however, was of an NPC. It also said that the version was 1.0 and the open beta will be launched in 385D. Version 1.0, this was decades ago. Why was this appearing now? Han Xiao was confused, and when he looked around his room, he saw his reflection in one of the reflective walls inside. His avatar looked like his actual appearance in the real world, though his hair was white. Seeing these clues and information in front of him, a frightening conclusion appeared inside Han Xiao's head. Did he transmigrate inside Star Ocean? It's hard to believe, but so far, the details he has gathered said so. While Han Xiao was thinking about the possibilities, the door suddenly opened. Then, a red-haired woman in a very revealing suit entered the room along with 2 other guards. The woman introduced herself as Hyla, the supervisor of the facility Han Xiao was in. Han Xiao also knew of the woman. She appeared in version 1.0 of Star Ocean as a boss. She was also known as the Crimson Serpent and made countless new players quit playing Star Ocean. As they were taking Han Xiao away, he finally noticed the guard's uniform. It was from a terrorist group during version 1.0. Now he was certain that he was in the game's storyline right now, the Valkyrie experiment. The Super Soldier Project's initial stage. They were also calling him a test subject just now, so there's a high chance that he will be brainwashed, dissected, or sent to the front lines as a cannon fodder. Upon remembering the contents of the storyline, Han Xiao cursed his luck. Did he just got transmigrated to die here in a terrorist's laboratory? After the scientists have finished conducting a test on Han Xiao, his result came as normal. Seeing his first ever successful test subject, the scientist already wanted to dissect his head and study his brain. But Hyla disagreed with his plan. Han Xiao was too precious to be broken down right now. They should just observe him for now and do the necessary measures in the future when they don't need Han Xiao anymore. In any case, Hyla asked the scientist to brainwash him first just to be sure. Hearing this, Han Xiao was alarmed. He was just currently level 1, his stats were very low, so he can't possibly resist the brainwashing and became a puppet for them to play with. Han Xiao then scrambled his decade-long knowledge for a possible solution to his current predicament. He looked at the shelves as he was being escorted and finally came up with an idea. He quickly reached out to one of the books on the shelf. His actions alarmed the guards, but the scientist held them back, eager to observe Han Xiao's action. Seeing this, Han Xiao was greatly relieved. As long as he won't show signs of resisting, they will protect him as the very first successful test subject. He then proceeded to read the book, and once he did so, a system popped up showing his experience gained through learning. This confirms Han Xiao's suspicion. Even though he transmigrated as an NPC, but since he retained a player system, then he can level up just like a player. He continued reading the contents of the book, and while he did so, Hyla and the scientist were observing him on the sidelines. Looking at Han Xiao intently reading a book, Hyla thought that it would be best if he becomes an intelligence-based special agent, as he will be more valuable as a cannon fodder. Han Xiao's reading was suddenly cut short as the brainwashing machine was completely ready now. But Han Xiao wouldn't let go of the book no matter what, as he was so close to gaining a level. And at the very last moment, when he yanked away from the book, the system suddenly informed Han Xiao that he has gained 1 level, pushing him to level 2. Also, he gained basic mechanic knowledge and mechanical engineering. He gained a profession of a novice mechanic, an additional 10 points on his strength, an additional 1 point on his intelligence, an additional 1 point on his endurance, and 2 unassigned attribute points. They then strapped Han Xiao in a chair facing a bunch of monitors. Connected to his head were different instruments for brainwashing. The scientist felt that it was such a waste that they have to ruin his brain before he could dissect him. Hyla doesn't mind it, as for her, loyalty comes first. After agreeing with Hyla, the scientist then turned on the machine, and Han Xiao's head was shocked while he looked at the display with different kinds of brainwashing contents. As for Han Xiao, the system was warning him that his willpower was not enough to resist the brainwashing, and it will be completed in 15 seconds. His willpower was currently 8, and resisting the brainwashing requires 10 willpower. As he gained 2 unassigned stat points after leveling up, he quickly assigned 2 points to his intelligence, causing the system to reevaluate his stats. With this, his intelligence was now on 7 while his tenacity was on 3. Combining these two, Han Xiao now has a willpower of 10. The system then notified him that the brainwashing was resisted just a second before the brainwashing finished. Now he just has to properly hone his acting skills to act as if he was brainwashed. After the brainwashing was done, Hyla then approached Han Xiao. Hyla then whispered in his ears about how the organization was his home and his new name was Zero. Han Xiao, however, was distracted by how close Hyla was to him. Back then, when he was boosting other accounts, he defeated Hyla many times over. But now that he saw Hyla up close, he noticed that she was gorgeous. Han Xiao was down bad. I and the scriptwriter read the novel, so we knew something about Hyla. Her name was supposed to be Heisla or something. Also, the organization's name was supposed to be Germinal. Anyway, that's not important. Back to the story. As Han Xiao gathered his thoughts, Hyla then asked him his name to confirm that the brainwashing was a success. And like a professional actor, Han Xiao answered that he was Zero with lifeless eyes. The look of a brainwashed person. Seeing how Han Xiao responded, the scientist thought that the Valkyrie solution has enhanced his learning abilities but robbed him of his emotional and communicative skills. This was a perfect outcome for the scientist, as a cannon fodder doesn't need those skills. They just need to be a puppet. Since the brainwashing has been done, Hyla ordered the guard to send Han Xiao to somewhere he can rest. But since he doesn't have a room of his own, Hyla orders to send him to her room instead. Han Xiao was a little bothered staying in the same room as Hyla, but he doesn't have the choice either since he was supposed to be brainwashed. The guard escorted Han Xiao into Hyla's relatively small room. Hyla was inside with him, talking on her phone with someone she addressed as Chief. She reported the details regarding Zero, which was Han Xiao, and the chief ordered her to train Zero since the goal of the Valkyrie project was to create a super soldier. Before their conversation ended, Hyla muttered in a low tone that she wants to see her little sister. Hearing this, Han Xiao remembered that she does have a little sister before. I just want you to know that Hyla's little sister was in a much more horrible situation than Han Xiao right now. Hearing Hyla's request, the chief reminded Hyla that she was allowed to visit her little sister twice every month. That was the contract and she should not cross the line. The chief then ended the call, leaving Hyla hanging. Out of rage, she punched a nearby wall which, in turn, cracked. This action reminded Han Xiao that the beautiful Hyla was a demon incarnate. The next morning, both of them were inside the training grounds. As ordered, Hyla will train Han Xiao to become a warrior capable enough to be an asset to the organization. She then handed the training equipment to Han Xiao and started their hand-to-hand combat training. Though it was called training, it was more like bullying since Han Xiao was receiving a one-sided beating. With knees, fists, slams, and kicks, Han Xiao ate it all. Hyla wasn't giving him a chance to fight back at all. Not that Han Xiao has the ability to. When they finished, Han Xiao was left lying on the training grounds floor, in a mess. But above him, a system interface telling him that he has learned basic combat from Hyla, and the progress was 5%. Han Xiao inwardly laughed at this sight. As long as he can hold on, and act like a puppet, his revenge and escape will not be long. After a moment, another person entered the training grounds. He introduced himself as Han Xiao's firearm instructor and the co-supervisor of the base, the same position as Hyla. His name was Baroda. He chucked a handgun toward Han Xiao and ordered him to hit the moving targets in front of him. Han Xiao was taken aback as the difficulty of the challenge was high right off the bat. With his current state and level, he will have a hard time hitting these targets. However, Han Xiao still did so, and as he already predicted, none of his shot hit the targets. But with this result, he received a stab from Baroda. He then ordered Han Xiao to continue the training, and if he still received the same result, he will stab Han Xiao again. Han Xiao was enraged about this, but what could he do? Hyla alone was already level 30. Baroda was at the same level as Hyla, and with his level 1 body, he might as well dug his own grave and crawled in it. Han Xiao held it in but will never forget this madness once he will have his time for revenge. He continued to shoot and was continued to be stabbed. Watching from a one-way mirror, the scientist and Hyla watched as Baroda continued to slash and stab Han Xiao. The scientist felt it was a waste to just use his creation like this. For him, it was much more worthwhile to dissect Han Xiao and study him than waste their time like this. Hyla disagreed with the scientist, but he knew full well that when the organization became fed up with Han Xiao, they will hand him over to him to be dissected. This was merely prolonging the inevitable. Later that day, Han Xiao went to Hyla's room. Hyla was already inside, in a towel. She then escorted Han Xiao to her bathroom and ordered him to take off his clothes. Hearing this order, Han Xiao inwardly panicked. Though this body was just a mere avatar, he was still a man and a virgin to boot. Seeing that Han Xiao was unmoving, Hyla sighed and proceeded to strip Han Xiao herself. Han Xiao's body was covered in cut marks from Baroda. Han Xiao's face was unfazed the whole process. Hyla also called Han Xiao an airhead with his look. But deep inside, he was losing his mind. Hyla then pulled Han Xiao into the bath, telling him that if doesn't work hard to show his worth to the organization, he will be sent over to Lin Weixin, the scientist, to be dissected. Hearing this, Han Xiao smiled inwardly. He will not be dissected by that guy, not in this life. Suddenly, Hyla pushed him down to the water. She informed Han Xiao that this was a medical bath and that by soaking in it for an hour, his wounds will be healed by tomorrow. She then left the room after reminding Han Xiao to do his best for his survival. Han Xiao knew that his title as the first successful test subject won't protect him for long, as the organization will keep on making test subjects like him. If they will ever create another successful test subject who was more competent than him, he will be sent to Lin Weixin to be dissected. He doesn't have much time left, he needs to get his plan started. A day has passed since Han Xiao transmigrated into Star Ocean. Inside the base, Lin Weixin told Hyla that he filed a request to the higher-ups again to dissect Han Xiao. Before, his every request was rejected as they were still observing Zero as the first successful test subject. However, Zero hasn't shown any interesting skill, nor do they see value in him. Hyla knew of this matter and reminded Lin Weixin that he needs to wait a bit longer for their approval. Lin Weixin snapped at Hyla when he noticed that she was defending the test subject. It wasn't a lie to say that Hyla has grown attached to Han Xiao after living with him in the same room. Not in a romantic way though, it was just Hyla's way of venting her feelings for her little sister that she missed so much. She saw that Han Xiao was a helpless little boy, so she ought to take care of him in her own way. Not her little brother but more like a pet. Inside Hyla's room, Hyla was having his meal while Han Xiao was fiddling with a broken and jammed gun. She told Han Xiao to throw them away as things without value or with their trashes to be thrown away. And if Han Xiao can't still show any value to the organization, his dissection will be approved, Hyla reminded Han Xiao. Han Xiao, on the other hand, muttered in a low tone, void of emotions, that he fixed the broken gun. A system panel also notified Han Xiao that he has completed a basic mechanical repair with a perfection rate of 69%, thus the system rewarded him with 35 experience points. Hearing Han Xiao's claim, Hyla headed outside to test the handgun. She shot at one of the flying birds and grounded one. The broken gun was fixed. Hyla reported this event to the higher-ups and requested permission for him to access the armory. Should this request be approved, Han Xiao will gain more time and his dissection will be pushed further in much later dates. For Han Xiao, this opportunity will give him access to pieces of equipment that need repairing, and in return, he will gain express. The mechanical engineering class can receive experience points from both assembly and repair, hence this is a very good opportunity for him. Later that day, the request was approved and Hyla showed Han Xiao the way to the armory. She also left books about mechanics for him to read and bid him farewell. Hyla went back to her room but she reprimanded Han Xiao, who followed her to her room. She already prepared a room for him in the armory so he doesn't have to follow her back. Plus, she thought that living with a man was wrong, so she sent Han Xiao away. Hyla also handed Han Xiao the gun that he repaired. Han Xiao dejectedly went on his way back to the armory while Hyla stared at his departing back and wished for his survival. She really wanted Han Xiao to show his worth and avoid being dissected by Lin Weixin. Back in the armory, Han Xiao has been fiddling with the equipment inside and gained a ton of experience points, which leveled up his novice mechanic job to level 3. Seeing how much he gained in just a little over 2 days' time, his plan will be done in less than a year. Han Xiao continued dismantling and repairing pieces of equipment in the armory and gaining more experience points, pushing his level, 1 level at a time. After that, 3 months passed. Han Xiao and Hyla were sparring inside the training ground as usual. Hyla was pounding Han Xiao up as usual also. This slightly frustrated Hyla since it has been 3 months but Han Xiao wasn't showing any talent all this time. No progress whatsoever. Lin Weixin has been talking to the higher-ups about his dissection all this time, and while the higher-ups still rejected his request, it won't stay that way if Han Xiao won't show any value for the organization. Han Xiao knew about this, but as much as possible, even though he already gained a considerable amount of level after 3 months, he can't show it to her or to the organization as it was part of his plan. However, back when he returned to the armory, the camera that was used to monitor him 24/7 has been dismantled. This became a green light for Han Xiao to start his plan without any eyes directed toward him. But in return, this will also be his timer, as this only means that the organization determined that he was useless and his dissection will be not long from now. Han Xiao then stepped up his game, turning from only repairing and dismantling, to trying out enhancement modification. He has been doing these for a while, but he will have to undo everything to avoid getting noticed. While Han Xiao was focused on his work, a man entered his room, followed by 2 others. The man wore the same uniform as Han Xiao and he declared that the organization will take 80% of his resources from now on. Han Xiao saw the number on his uniform and knew that he was the second successful test subject created after Han Xiao. He was looking down on Han Xiao for being useless trash without value. The man then ordered the other guys with him to take all of Han Xiao's supplies. To Han Xiao's knowledge, before he transmigrated, the organization was supposed to create only number 1, 0 didn't exist. He was a much more competent test subject with a talent for combat and a healthy body. The 0 back then must have been dissected or died during the testing process. While they were taking Han Xiao's supplies, 2 guards saw what happened. They looked down on the test subjects since they were robbed of their own will and were brainwashed to be cannon fodder. Han Xiao heard his arrogant comment but found it normal as manga treats their test subjects as mere tools. But Han Xiao was curious, what would their expressions be like if they will be slaughtered by the same tool and cannon fooder they made? Meanwhile, somewhere inside the base, the three pillars of the base gathered in a projection. Lin Weixin was requesting for Zero's dissection again, but this time, the chief agreed to his request. Lin Weixin was very happy with their chief's decision. Hyla on the other hand was visibly upset. During their training, Han Xiao noticed something was off with Hyla. She was punching him harder than usual. If they continued fighting like this, he could really die. Han Xiao tried to fight back but was easily thrown away by Hyla. Hyla was about to continue pounding at Han Xiao but snapped out of her madness and stopped. She sighed in front of Han Xiao and told him to sleep well tonight and he doesn't have to come back tomorrow morning as this will be their last and tomorrow, he will be dissected. Hyla left the training ground with a gloomy expression. Han Xiao, on the other hand, realized that the day finally come. Han Xiao remembered his times inside the base. Throughout his stay there, only Hyla treated him like a person while others treated him like a tool, tormenting him. So the day has come, Han Xiao grinned. He immediately returned to the armory to work on his plan. His novice mechanic profession has already reached max, but that wasn't the level cap yet. His interface shows no level limit, so he can surpass the current level limit of version 1.0, which was 60. He then gambled in Blueprint Fusion. Blueprint was the mechanic's greatest skill. This is like a gacha for blueprints, but Han Xiao has to pay experience points every pull. Moreover, every other pull will increase the experience points required, so no matter how many experience points you gather, you can only pull so much. Han Xiao has been pulling for a while now, but all he got were trashes. It was to be expected, gacha games were like this. He has almost used up his saved up experience points, and before he ran out of experience points, he finally pulled the blueprint he has been waiting for, the lightweight power arm blueprint. With the blueprint, building the power arm was a piece of cake for Han Xiao, and with this, his final preparation was finally over. The tiger was now out of the cage.
Thank you for watching. Like if you want to see another part of this series. Subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day.